So what happened with the Sykes incident? Well, that is a long story, and I probably won't go over all the details, but from what I recall, there were a lot of things going on in the United States that were unfair. There were a lot of Black people being killed by police. It was just a lot of unrest going on. We had the Charleston 9 happen. We had a guy who tried to put a Confederate flag up on the flagpole in front of Old Main. We had KKK on campus passing out flyers and trying to recruit. And overall, the students and a lot of staff and faculty also felt that the administration wasn't responding in a very supportive way. So, especially when you see other higher education institutions, their administration were releasing statements, but ours would never release statements. Or if they were so dry and just not very supportive. So I guess you say the straw that broke the camel's back was bananas that were placed by I think it was a Black History poster on campus. And so they were hung on this sign. And I guess the students just had enough, and they waited for the administration to release something. I think something was released, but it was so politically, like, I don't know, it was just very dry. And it was like, we don't, Clemson doesn't support these type of acts, but would never call the acts racist. They never used the word racist. It never called it for what it was. And I think that was very frustrating. So there's a group of students, they kind of formed a planning committee. I don't know how many were on there, or I can't remember what they called themselves, but they decided to have a sit-in in Sykes until the university addressed their concerns. So they came up with a list of demands and presented it, started camping out in the lobby of Sykes. I remember them being over there one day. They were inside, but I think they were told on their first or second day, you can no longer be in here after 4:30 or 5. We lock up and anybody here will be arrested. And they planned, and again, I didn't know this at the time, but they planned to stay in there after 5. I don't know if they were testing that threat or they were trying to really show that this was important to them, but the administration made a decision to arrest the 5. That in turn just really upset a lot of students and parents and staff and faculty, because that has a lot of implications for students when you have that on your record. This is a higher learning facility. Why were you arresting people for protesting? So that really, I think, sparked a lot of outrage, and really actually, I think if the administration looked back on that, they would say, wow, if we wouldn't have arrested them, it probably would have gone away faster, but they didn't do that. So 9 days, students, staff, and faculty were out there sleeping. They were chanting, singing. I mean, it almost became, I can't remember what AD called it, but it was almost like you have the Gantt Center, the Multicultural Center was moved to the Sykes steps. And that was just amazing to see. People would drive by and honk and wave, I think mostly in support. Pretty sure there were some things people were yelling out, but I don't remember all the details on that. I think white students started asking a lot of questions because they didn't know about all of these difficulties that their Black counterparts were having. They would stop by, and it was really like a lot of people learned a lot. So anyway, the administration 9 days later released their reply to all the demands, and for the first time they put people who were responsible for them, because in the past they would say we're going to do this, but there's nobody to hold accountable. So if it didn't happen, nobody was in trouble. So they released that, and that committee, that planning committee, decided to end the sit-in because it was taking a toll on students. It was, people were tired, they'd missed class, finals were about to start, they weren't prepared. So they didn't want the students to drop out, or else the other side would definitely win. So they said that they were going to end it, and that was almost 3 years ago, or Yes, I think it was about 3 years. I can't, my mind is fuzzy on the year. Is it 2015?
I think 2016.
It's 2016. So, okay, 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago. So, what has been frustrating for us who are still here, so a lot of those students have graduated or are about to graduate, and there's a lot less activism on campus now. Nobody has talked about those demands. Like when we got back in August that year, President Clement sent out an email updating what was going on with the plan. And I was like, okay, good, we are holding people accountable. I personally don't remember seeing anything since then, and that was August 2016. I don't know that anything has been sent out since. I don't know, maybe they're keeping up with it online, but just not releasing it. But it just feels like they waited it out, and like all students, they graduate or they leave, and everything kind of ends until the next group of students pick it up. And I don't think that's happened here. There's been no group that has really taken the place of the group that's graduated. And I don't blame, I'm not upset about that. I think, you know, students are here to learn and they're here to graduate. And so when you're asking them, when change only happens when students are taking time out of their responsibilities, I think that's not a healthy way to do it. So I don't know how to go about it anymore, but that's the experience I did. And I'm a staff member who, you know, is trying to support some of the students, especially, you know, one of our students was arrested. One of our teachers who's in grad school, he got arrested. I mean, so we were very involved, but since that time, I haven't seen, you know, the change that we were all hoping that would happen.
So I guess my train of thought, definitely when we first started planning the sit-in, was just that I was tired of not only like different racist things happening and like, you know, microaggressions and all this stuff, but I was also tired of like the administration not responding to anything that we were saying, and I was tired of, oh, we'll deal with that later, or you know, we're working on it and all this good stuff, and it was time to do something. So that was the first part. But then actually while everything was going in, I was just like going on, I was just amazed by like the community that was formed. Like we started calling Sykes the Political and Multicultural Center. We just started, you know, of course, I was disappointed by administration's response over the first couple days, but I was really kind of, I had a sense of pride by, you know, the majority of the students' response. There were some negative things, especially on social media, Yik Yak, people talking about lynching the monkeys, with Sykes still being used as a homeless shelter, stuff like that was definitely disheartening and discouraging. But pretty much the whole time it was about keeping my focus and keeping my eye on the goal. Absolutely not. You know, I was one of the 5 students who did get arrested during the sit-in, and even with being arrested, like we knew that we were going to get arrested at some point during the protest, because, you know, it's Clemson University. So I'd already mentally prepared for that. I'd already talked to my family. I let them know the decision that I was making, and my family, you know, supported the decision. My friends supported the decision. And at the end of the day, Clemson, so they arrested us for trespassing and then arraigned us in the same building that they arrested us in, which is illegal because we were trespassing and because the building was closed, but you can't have arraignment in a closed building. So it was like, from the beginning, I knew the charges were gonna have to get dismissed. And that's what happened. So not only did we get some inkling of results that we wanted, but we also got, you know, we also didn't face any life-altering, you know, consequences, which is, you know, a win for me. The biggest thing about the Sykes sit-in that we wanted was that we wanted people to take notice and realize that, you know, we were tired of just marching and being silent, and the administration needed to respond. We wanted action no more emails, no more dialogues. We wanted the administration to come up with a plan that they have the money to come up with and start making things happen. And I've seen tidbits of change. We actually had a meeting earlier this semester where we got updates on a lot of the demands that we made during the sit-in. We were notified about people to hold accountable. The things actually changed, and that's what we wanted. We wanted the administration to at least show some effort. So definitely there have been some changes in the administration as well as the student body. People coming in now don't deal with half the stuff that I dealt with as a freshman. One of the things, Yik Yak is no longer on our campus, which is amazing, or at least not as widely used as it was before. The campus, no one's bragging about throwing a Christmas party, aka a blackface party anymore. We don't have jokes about lynching black students. Nobody's putting bananas on African American monuments anymore. So the campus, as far as the student perspective, has definitely kind of gotten this stuff together. Administration is definitely still a lot slower than I wish they be. And sometimes their choice in ways of communication, and there's definitely still setbacks, but I will give them the credit of they are at least trying a lot harder than they were before April 2016.